everybody out there. Welcome to Shutter Mag. I'm Phillip Blume, and you've been reading my article about building an international portfolio, creating an international image. A large part of how Eileen and I do that is through charitable work that we do internationally. There's, of course, so much need on the international scene for that kind of work, and I encourage you to get involved. It changes your life. It can change your business as well, as we've talked about in more depth before. But in a broader sense, the way that you can create that international image for you goes into whatever your specialty is. So for us, that's weddings primarily. And certainly we take advantage of every opportunity we have to do any kind of portraits while we're traveling internationally as well to build that portfolio. But I wanted to start off with just a story to give you some kind of idea of what an effect this can have for your brand. Eileen and I had a wedding couple whose wedding was scheduled as a rural wedding here in Georgia where we're located. And just prior to their wedding, we had one of our international weddings. So it was our second wedding to shoot in London last year. And while we were gone, somebody just posted on our Facebook wall, somebody we knew jokingly posted, "Have fun photographing the royal baby while you're there in London." It was at that same time that, what's his name, Prince William and Kate. See, I'm not into the royals, but the royal baby had just been born. So that joke was put out there. We were, in fact, in London, but we were not, in fact, shooting any royal babies. But somehow that joke became, sort of went like wildfire among those who follow our page. And many people were convinced that we were photographing the royal family and this baby, which to us is just hilarious. I mean, we're local, small town photographers. We're a couple hours outside any big city. And to think that our brand has grown to the magnitude that people would believe that about us is almost comical. But we come back home. We're at this country wedding, and we're, until then, unbeknownst to us, did this even happen, this rumor. But everyone starts coming up to us and wanting to shake our hands and ask what was it like to meet the royal family. And we don't even know what they're talking about at first, but it turns into an understanding. And of course, we're trying to be honest and tell them, oh, no, that must have been a joke. But so as often as we try to waylay that rumor and explain and clarify, there's still people out there who think that our brand is not only international, but working with these celebrity clients. So it's good that that kind of esteem can be brought to your small town home studio. Here I am, in our basement studio of our home, and that international image, you don't want to buy it through deceit. That's just one funny instance where all the beliefs were not really true. But you can earn that image in a real way. We are really shooting international weddings. Just this week, we're able to nail down a wedding in Colorado, in Vail, Colorado, beautiful destination location at a resort, and another in Bermuda that will be coming up next year. And that doesn't happen every week. It's kind of a coincidence that the article is coming out this month as well at the same time. But we'll maybe shoot 2 international weddings and a couple other, local destination weddings each year. And that's enough for us. We're carrying our children along with us for most of these rides. So our 4-year-old and our 2-year-old have traveled with us to London over and over, and to the Philippines and other locations. So think of your life and your family situation. How can you chase after that international image and those international jobs in a limited way? You don't have to be an international photographer who's always on the go. It can be a fun trip once a year. And that's enough as long as you use that work in your portfolio and really show it off. Earn the image. Don't try to fake it till you make it. Go out there. Your first international gigs, maybe you'll have to do those on a charitable basis. But find out where you have connections around the world. Allow those connections, those family or friends, hook you up with your first gigs. And you might give some kind of discounted rate to start building your portfolio, and then start getting these weddings that are paying gigs later on, or portraits. But I wanted to give you a couple practical tips and leave you with this, since this is something we didn't go into in the article. But when we're traveling, there's so much you'll learn. Some of the things that stick out in my mind are the fact that you've got to back up not only your work, not only backing up the images that you take while you're gone in 2 or 3 locations. We put them on external hard drives, our laptop computer we travel with, and those travel in different bags. A third external hard drive goes into one of our checked pieces of luggage, but also backing up your equipment. So we have a whole kit which is pretty much dedicated as backup when we're shooting locally. If our gear was in a car wreck and all was destroyed, we'd have a second set of gear, not quite as good quality, but it's usable, back at the studio that we can go to immediately. And certainly when we're traveling, that's crucial. We travel with only the gear we need, and we have backups of all of that back home. So we're not taking everything we own on the road. Joe Swicer, hey. Okay, we'll get back to him later. And then arrive early. So talking about your flights when you're traveling via airplane, you need to be the first one on that plane. I know usually I just like to sit back and let everybody board first because everyone's like in a panic to get on the plane, and I'm not sure why. It's like it's the last helicopter to get out of Vietnam, and everybody wants to get on first. We're all going to get on safely and securely. But as a photographer, nowadays flights are so booked up that you're almost inevitably it's always going to run out of space for your carry-on. So you've got to get your camera gear on with you. You can't trust that to be put under the belly of the plane. Your $20,000 of kit in your bag is going to be crushed when those guys just throw it on there. So it's got to be all packed in your carry-on. To make sure it goes on with you, you've got to be the first on that plane. So arrive extra early. I'm using the Airport International version 2 from Think Tank. So just to give you an idea of what that bag looks like. The International bag is a little big for a carry-on. So don't overstuff it if you use this bag. And just kind of, walk carefully with it sort of behind you so that no one at the airport questions, is that bag too big? And again, be the first on. I have had them stop me and say you can't carry that bag on. And so I'm looking at possible smaller options. I think Think Tank makes one that's slightly smaller. But so far I've been able to tell them, hey, listen, this is what's in my bag. I cannot have it checked. And I show them pictures I've taken of it fitting in the overhead before. So try to help convince them that, look, it really will fit. And just always speaking nicely and respectfully to them. Otherwise, you won't get anywhere. The other kit we carry when we're really parsing down for like third world countries and just basic equipment in a really strong piece of luggage, we use the Pelican 1510 case. And Pelican cases are just wonderful. You can order these with the camera padding inside. Gear, these are not the usual light stands we use, but for international gigs, I'm using a Manfrotto 5001B. This is a light stand, believe it or not. It folds completely different to your traditional light stands, and it fits inside my Pelican case. I get 2 of these stands inside my case, as well as the only light modifier you really need that's crucial is an umbrella. And this packs up so small. We're using, it's a Westcott style 2001 umbrella, and it folds twice, so it's much smaller, compact size than your typical umbrella. But it opens up nice and large. This is a 32-inch, I believe. So that's the Westcott 2001 collapsible umbrella. And for audio, if we're doing video work, I'm bringing smaller audio equipment than my big boys over here. Something like this Zoom H1 that I'm recording on now, although I'm using a very cheap mic. So I'm not sure how the quality sounds, but it does the job. And we're upgrading to some of our pocket recorders to a Tascam DR07 Mark II. So that's the Tascam DR07. But that's just a few practical things. Look out for more of our tips if you're interested in especially travel photography. And get into international print competitions. I say that a lot, but that's going to really round out your image. You don't have to ever travel internationally to be an internationally award-winning photographer because the competition is international. But when you pair those print awards with the work that you're doing abroad and showing, you've wrapped up your image. And it's just a lot of fun. The whole process is a lot of fun doing it as well. So thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.